So, what we're going to be doing today is doing a HOTS ARAM tier list with SnakeBite here. Welcome, SnakeBite.
Hello.
Very nice. So we're just going to be going through what we think of each character and how good they are in ARAM. Now, there may be some bias in this, but at the same time, I think we'll be pretty fair. You may have differing opinions, but, you know, I think it's also based off of certain people's play style. So we're going to jump right in, and we're going to just do this alphabetically. We'll put them in S through F tier, and we'll start with Alarak. So, SnakeBite, what do you think about Alarak?
Well, you said there may be some bias. I can guarantee you that there's going to be bias on several of these characters. Because everybody has love-hate relationships with some characters. Alarak, or as I like to say, Alarak. I think he's listed as what? Very hard to play, I think.
Yeah.
Because you got a combo with him. And anybody who can manipulate the battlefield as far as like moving people, you know, I don't want to rank low, but I think it's pretty hard to take over a game with this guy. So I'm going to go with, again, the battlefield manipulation can be OP, plus the silence. So I'm going to go with a B here.
Okay, so we're going to go B.
Alarak. I don't think he's like super beast. He's not going to be my first selection, but
Yeah.
I'm not super upset if I get him.
I think if he's one of those characters that you have two bad choices, he's a fine choice. He's also one that depends on the person. 'Cause I've seen some people just dominate with him, especially once he starts getting his sadism up. He can be hard to deal with and hit him like a truck.
Yep.
All right, let's jump to our second one here. We have Alex Straza.
Alex Straza. So when this character first came out, I definitely disliked her. I thought her main heal, I guess it wouldn't be her main heal. Her W heal was like a big target on the map that said, hey, everybody throw your abilities here and wipe our team. But I think she's pretty good in ARAM because you do get those group heals. I go Q build, and I think that this keeps a high heal available on a low cooldown. Life Binder is really good as well. I don't think I would give her top tier because, you know, you do have the other team knowing where you're healing half the time.
Yeah.
So if there's like if there's an A plus, I'd probably give her an A plus. But since it's A tier and I don't think she's S tier, I'll go A tier.
Okay, I can agree with that. I mean, she's has some issues, especially if you're not playing super backline and taking damage, because then that reduces her healing. But overall, I think she's one of the stronger healers in the game.
I've learned to like her a lot.
Yeah. All right. Now we come to Anna.
Anna, you know, there's a few characters in the game that really bring out the loud screaming and the rage, and I think Anna is probably one of those. As you try to shoot your own team and heal them as they try to win the Heisman Trophy, juking and jiving across the map. It's very frustrating. So I don't think she's a top tier healer. She has to self heal. You have to, I think, auto attack the other team, which just gets you out of position and you die. You're slow. The sleep isn't beneficial enough. The heroics are not beastie enough. So I'd probably put her in the D category. Definitely not one of my favorite healers.
Yeah. I mean, She kind of also depends on the team you're playing with, like you said about the Heisman. I mean, if you're playing with Tracer on your team, you're going to have zero chance of ever hitting her. Whereas when you got somebody like Asmo, you got a better chance. So, yeah, I agree with that. Anduin.
Anduin. I remember there's a lot of healers in the first half of the alphabet.
Yeah.
You know, I liked Anduin when he first dropped. I still like Anduin. I don't exactly know why. It just seems fun to play. I do not think he's a top tier healer. He doesn't seem. His heal just doesn't seem to hit for that much. He does have the stun. He does have the W, which everybody has a W, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then his special is really good unless they have some sort of CC or knock you out of it, and then it's pretty much worthless. So, man, he's definitely not top tier. I don't even think he's A tier. So, I guess we'll put Anduin in the C range. He's average. Again, he's fun to play for me. I think he does the job as a healer. So he's probably like C plus ish. So I guess we'll put him in the C tier, maybe slightly low, but that's what I'm gonna give him.
Yeah, no, I can go with that. I think he can bounce between the B and actually I would say bounce between the A and the C tier, depending on the other team comp. If they have any stun or whatnot to get him out of the special, then he's pretty mediocre. But if they can't get him out of the special, then that's when I would jump him to the A tier. Depending, because that thing is so freaking good. I mean, it's a big heal plus a protection.
And at 20, it resets like
quick if you do it. If you do the whole heal, then it gives you a quicker reset. So yeah,
much quicker. Yeah.
All right. Next we have a Nubarak.
I like a noob. I've always liked a noob. 2 stuns, which immediately makes you above average, I think. In 1 stun, the burrow is a good escape. You know, in ARAM, those beetles can really hurt somebody like a Li Ming or who's somebody else that might try to hit you with something, Junkrat, anybody that's throwing stuff at you that you can suck up some damage with a beetle.
Yeah.
I think his specials are average, or I mean, Locust Swarm is, I haven't seen anybody use that. So I would probably, he's not a top tier tank. I'm squishier than he was. Just because I don't think his heroics are as good as some of the top tier, I'll give him a B.
Okay.
B plus.
B plus. Yeah. I think Cocoon, when used correctly to isolate somebody, especially in the heat of battle, can sometimes change a battle. But it's not always on, especially if you're getting pushed back and they're knocking them out pretty quickly, then yeah, it's useless. But I think if you're actually using it, pushing them back, isolating the character, it can be pretty good.
Yeah, I'm probably underrating that a little bit. You take their healer or DPS out of a fight. It's can win you the fights.
Yeah. All right, next up we have Artanis.
Artanis, man, it's probably not good that last night I had a game with him and he was trash. And I was hitting everything, stacking everything. So it's not going to be high. You know, he's got a flip, which, I mean, usually in ARAM, you're going to kill yourself getting the flip. So not sure how valuable that is. Little bit of survivability with the With the shield popping, he could probably take a camp by himself if you needed him to later on, but he just doesn't do enough damage and he doesn't survive well enough being a melee character, so I don't think he's trash. I have some other characters that I definitely think are trash and will show up in the trash bin, so he's going to be a little bit above that. We'll give Artanis a D.
Okay. I think he's got some utility to him, but like you said, if things aren't going right, then he's not going to be showing up on the stat board to help you out. He needs the kills, he needs the get more ahead sort of thing. So, alright, next, everyone's favorite Death Knight. We have Arthas.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that one of the best characters in Blizzard is one of the worst characters in this game. Here's where maybe the bias comes into play. When I play him, he has no escape, no survivability. Maybe you slow somebody a little bit. Is not gonna do damage up front. Skarbok knows I dislike this guy immensely. I think he's one of the worst tanks. Definitely an ARAM. So it's gonna be the first F tier for me. I have a pretty strong dislike of this guy's abilities in this game.
I think I have good games with him and I have god awful games with him. But like you said, the escapability I think is his hardest one, especially if you have a Garrosh on their team or the Stitches. It's the slow is nice, the root is nice, but yeah, sometimes he can be hard to keep alive. So yeah. Alright, next we have Ariel.
Ariel, man, I feel like she got nerfed at some point, and because she used to take over ARAM. You like, oh my gosh, I got an Ariel and a Garbok, or I mean, a Garbok. That's true, and a Gul'dan. I'm gonna instant full energy, and I'm gonna heal like crazy. But she got nerfed. You have to have a little bit of focus on your team to stack to really hit her heals well. Otherwise, you're single target healing somebody for 500, which is great, but if you don't have those team heals in this ARAM, you're just not going to get it. So I don't see her dominating at all really anymore. It takes a team working together to have her do that, which unless you're playing with people you're talking to is probably not going to happen. So she rates pretty low for me nowadays. I mean, you can resurrect somebody, which is pretty wild. Especially you get late game with a high death timer. So I think I initially had her rated as a D, but if you can do team heals and you can resurrect somebody, I feel like you can't quite be that low. So let's bump her up to a C, but definitely not one of my favorite healers. Not nowadays, anyway.
I think something's different with her. I agree. Her heals don't seem as big. Her specials are good, but I think she works better in like a two healer situation where you got somebody that's more direct and she's kind of helping out on the back end.
Now that I think about it, I'm gonna move her down to D because you're completely contingent upon somebody else giving you the ability to heal, pretty much, unless you're gonna try to frontline and hit the other team. So
yeah, hit your Q.
I'm gonna move her down to D.
All right. Here we go, Asmodan.
Asmodan, or as we like to call him, Fatmodan. Not fat shaming, just stating the fact. He's one of the larger hitbox characters in the game. And I think, let me look here. Yes, very much so. He is my highest leveled character in the game. Um, he's OP. He's OP in ARAM. So this is gonna definitely be my first S tier. I love Asmo. You do fat AoE damage, and ARAM. Everybody's grouped. Have to be single lane. So he's gonna put up mammoth siege damage. He's gonna put up mammoth hero damage. Unless you're just playing him really stupid, he's gonna be OP. So definitely S tier.
I agree with everything you said. All right, Blaze.
Blaze. Another character I liked when he first popped. I still like him.
Must be that tearing in you.
Must be the what?
Tearing in you.
Maybe so. Maybe a little bit. And he's not my favorite tank, but he's close. The only reason I won't give him S tier is because I think his heroics are not elite. Bunker it's usually going to get blown up super quick in ARAM because everything's a team fight. It's maybe you get it down to save yourself, but it's usually not going to sway too much. Combustion, you don't see that work very well, but he can lane clear, he can survive, he has a little bit of escapability, so I think he's definitely an A. I like Blaze a lot.
Yeah, I think his biggest issue outside of the bunker or the heroics is the mana. He seems to just go home so fast.
Yeah. First 10 minutes of the game, that's you got something you got to watch.
I love his first tier talents, though. You do have a lot of utility in those ones, depending.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Next up, we have Brightwing.
Brightwing. So a healer that heals everybody around her. She has one of the best CCs in the game with Polymorph. If a character needs to not be CC'd to be good, I mean, they're basically taken out of the game if that Brightwing targets him. What does she like to say? What's she say? I believe in murder. Is that what she said?
Yeah, that's one of her lines.
Yeah, she believes in murder, so she's already kind of a maniac. I'm not, it's a little bit like Blaze. Like, she's really good, but I'm not in love with her heroics. Most people are going to take the blank heal, especially if you're solo healing. And that is a tickle of a heal. There's not a lot there. And maybe they did that because she's so good in other areas with the poly and the root removal. But I just don't think the heals are beastie enough for me to give her S tier. So I'm going to go A tier. Easy A tier. It's not quite there for me with the S. Her heels tickle. They don't pop you.
Yeah, she's, again, I think more of a team player where you got to be around people and they got to be aware of where you're at so they can get a heal. She's a different play style, but yeah, I like her. All right, next up we have the Butcher.
F. So the Butcher, man, I've never liked this character. Quick match. It seemed like I would run into him on a Li Ming or something, 1-on-1. So that started the hate. And talk about somebody contingent on everybody else helping him be good. The other team has to be really dumb and let this guy stack really fast for him to do much during the game. Now, does he have bursts? 100%, but any type of CC, he's done. If you don't let him stack, he's done. Even if you let him stack, you'll get to the end of the game and he'll have 40,000 and 5 kills. So he's definitely an F. A little bit of bias, but a whole lot of seeing a lot of sucky butcher games.
He's one of those in ARAM. There's way too much going on. You got to play way too passive. I mean, about his only saving grace is lamb to the slaughter. And outside of that, he doesn't bring much to the game. The stun, but again, half the time if you charge in and stun, you die, and then you lose all your meat. Yeah, he is not made for ARAM. Alright, next we got Cassia.
Cassia. I like Cassia. Cassia. You know, I think it's pretty hard to be range damage and not be halfway decent. Now, we'll probably get to a few that I don't rate as highly, but Cassia is good. Stackable quest. The blind. You get protected fin that gives you some ability to dive and be okay with it. So I think with the stackable quest, you usually put up some decent damage. I think her specials are below average. You gotta hope the ball bounces. The Valkyrie, pretty easy to get out of the way of that. So I have good games with her usually. Usually I see people that do. So I think I had her A tier initially, and I think we can keep her there. I like Cassie. She's a good damage dealer.
Yeah. I mean, she's really good, especially if they have a melee team or any auto attack team, because her blind is very useful in that regard. It was like when we played the double Artanis team the other night, and the blind just dominated them. Next up, we have Chen Storm Stout.
Old Chen. So, while I do enjoy playing Chen and feel like he used to be halfway decent, he is a melee character who stands there and drinks to get shields in a single lane map where 5 people can attack him. And doesn't seem to do as much damage as it used to do. He had a big rework.
Yeah.
Kind of like why when they did it, but I think he's pretty bad nowadays, especially in this format. I mean, just standing in one spot, you're just gonna get smashed. Doesn't matter how many shields you have. So I don't think he's your first pick or second pick. He's your third pick if you got 2 butchers as your other picks. So, I'm gonna give Shin a D. I don't think he's quite F. He can do a few things, but he's, I don't think you want him to be your main tank. He's got the barrel. The barrel's fun.
Yeah.
Knock people around, so maybe that gives him a D+, but he's still a D category for me.
I'd probably rank him a little higher, but I play with him a lot more. But I do agree with your statement that rework really kind of hurt him, because I was watching an old video that I did today, and I took out their whole team by myself. And now, he can do a little damage, but he adds some utility a little bit later when he can shield the team, but that's about it. Yeah, his damage doesn't seem like it used to. So, alright, Chromie is next up on the docket.
Chromie, the little gnome. Other than being super squishy, I think there's not a whole lot of damage dealers I would take over her. Super range, Big damage if you can hit the stuff. You get your quests. Is it 2 levels or 1 level earlier than everybody else?
Good check really quick.
It's 2.
I think it's 2 as well.
Yeah, 2 levels earlier than everybody. So she's OP for me. I'd take her. There's probably only like maybe 3 or 4 people I would take over her. So this would be another S tier for me. She's beast. It's a little difficult to play because there's pretty much all skill shots, and she is squishy, so you can't really get out of position. But she's really good.
Yeah. Plus her ult is pretty good. The rewind.
Oh yeah, and her other one's so good that they don't even let you use it.
Yep. All right. Next up, we have Deathwing.
Deathwing. So I enjoy Deathwing. I don't think I play him very well because I never leave the destroyer mode or world breaker mode, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's just so big. He's, this is a team fight every time, so you have such a big hitbox and there's no hiding. You can get melted by some players pretty quick, but you know what you're doing. He's got some CC and he can put up some pretty good AoE and pretty good damage, especially if the other team's being pretty dumb, setting in some of your stuff. So I think he's pretty average in ARAM. Or is Deathwing a he or she?
He.
Or he. So average grade gives you a C. So I'll give DW a C.
I see him dominate some games, and then I play him, and I just don't get it. I mean, you got to be basking in his fire breath for anything to happen. And if the team gets out of the way, he just doesn't seem like he's that good. But again, I've seen people just dominate with him on the stat board, so I can't really take anything away from him. All right, next up, we got Deckard Cain.
I like me some Deckard Cain. It's probably a little bit of nostalgia from all the Diablo I played, but I would say there's not a lot of healers that I would take over Deckard Cain. Maybe no, maybe none. So he's probably, I don't, levels 1 to 10, he's not your best healer at all. But levels like 13 to 20, I think he becomes one of your best healers. So he's probably an A healer, but I put him in S tier because a little bit of the nostalgia. And when you get endless pots and with super pots, that's insane. And you usually, your game goes over 12 minutes, you're probably going to hit level 20, and he just becomes a beast at that time. Heroics are good enough. His CC is good enough. That for me, he's S tier.
I can agree with that. I mean, every one of his abilities is really good. Early game, yeah, he's a little hit and miss, mana hungry, but late game, yeah, he's gonna win you some games by himself. Even if he's dead, the endless pots being out, you can keep your team pretty much full go. So yeah, I think that separates him from other healers. He wouldn't be my top choice, but he would be probably number 2.
Yep.
All right, next up we have Dahaka.
Dahaka. A lot of survivability, a lot of self heals. I don't think he's your most favorite front line that you can have, and he's listed as a bruiser, and he's not ever going to lead the charts in damage, which I'm not saying bruisers should, but a little conflicted because his survivability is so good, But what else does he offer you? I mean, he has the tongue, but that seems somewhat difficult to hit, somewhat close range. Um, so also your brush stalker, half the maps don't even have fog.
Yeah.
So I think he's pretty average, you know. The specials are average as well. So I see maybe one tier too low, but that's where I'm gonna put him at. I don't. He's not gonna be my first pick, but maybe he's my second pick if my third one is.
Yeah, he's too map dependent. Is because I mean he walks too slow, and unless you have the fog or the smoke, you're not going to be able to do. You're not going to be as impactful as you would be on a typical map. And then, like you said, his brush stalker then doesn't really help you too much if you can't brush stalk. So yeah, he's too map dependent. I enjoy him. Don't get me wrong. He's probably one of my favorite bruisers, but he just has too many limitations in the ARAM setting. All right, next up we have Diablo.
Diablo. So I have to take the fact that I seem to not play a good Diablo out of the equation. And it's kind of like Arthas, as in the lore behind the character is so, I don't know, long history. I mean, a standalone game, so it kind of stinks that one, I don't play him that well, and two, I don't think he's. I don't know, man. He can get pretty tanky as far as sitting there and soaking up some damage. He can definitely do that once he gets his stones going. The flip and the pull. So I think I had him rated as a C, but the more I think about it, maybe I should look at my tanks a little bit closer here. What do we got? I guess I'll keep him as a C. That's probably a little low, but if you get his stones reset, he can die quick enough and not control the map good enough to warrant. He may warrant a B, but being that I suck with him, I'll give him a C. So sorry,
Yeah.
Diablo. Maybe you're better than that, but not with me playing you.
There's likes and dislikes with him. Just I like the level 1 talent with the globes that give you a lot more health. The returning after dying when you have the full souls is pretty nice. But just sometimes, yeah, when you dive, it's like you get out of position too easy. And if you play a good Diablo, don't get me wrong, you can probably be a lot higher, but I just, yeah, the mobility issue, being slow and all that doesn't help either. And then you have to dive to be able to grab people unless they come right up to you so you can overpower them and then dive backwards with them. But that's pretty much about it for him. All right. Next, we have Diva.
Diva. That's a character that I've slowly learned to like. Not love, but like.
Yeah, you led in damage last night with her.
Yeah, you basically have two lives, one that's kind of tanky and one that's mega squishy, but so your survivability is pretty good. The E, if you know how to play her and get that charged, everybody's able to get out of the way of it, but it still requires them to get out of the way of it. So it can control a minion wave, can control a map for 5 or so seconds. But am I scared to see her on the opposing team? No, I don't think she does enough to make me scared of her. So, heroics, The bunny hop is fun, and it does get a couple stuns off if you're on top of people. So, trying to see. I don't know if I'm over crowding the C market. Let me think for a second. I think she probably does enough damage as a. Is she listed as a bruiser? Or
Yeah, she's a bruiser.
listed as a bruiser. Okay, well maybe if you have another tank, I guess let's give her a B. I'm
Okay.
okay with that. B minus.
I'm awful with her. I don't enjoy her playstyle at all. So I would be biased and probably put her lower, but again, I've seen decent stats at her, but like you said, I've never seen her just take over a game where I'm like, oh my god, it's Diva. So I can agree with you on this. All right, next up we have one of your firsts, ETC.
ETC. I bring the mega death. So, I like ETC. I'm looking at him right now. He's got Prince's outfit on with the purple guitar. It's amazing. Fellow rocker myself. So, it's gonna be high. Got a consistent stun with the Q, the W, the E, so just a little bit of a heal. And the mosh pit is OP, but typically when you're playing ARAM, at least one of those people on the other team is going to have something to knock you out of it. So, being that you can't get that off all the time, and you're not going to get any damage out of this guy, but I think he has enough escape, survivability, CC, and if you can get a good mosh off, I mean, that's one of the best heroics in the game. So, not S tier, but A tier for me because I do like the character and I enjoy playing him. So, I'll put him A tier.
Yeah, I think the damage is just what holds him back for me. I mean, you're finished a 25-minute game and he did 12,000 damage. And
yeah, it's going to be low.
So, but yeah, the rest of what you said, the only problem is like, if they have multiple people that can stun him out of Mosh, his other heroic is so trash that it doesn't do anything. But only thing it does is you can run away from a fight, or you can get from the starting block to where you need to be. Yeah, stage dive is one of the worst heroics I think in the game. All right, next up we got Falstad.
Falstad, he's one of my highest rated. He is number 3. I like him a lot. I don't think he's S tier. He's not an insta pick out of me, but he's pretty quick. If I don't have one of my insta picks, anybody that's got a stackable quest on hero hits, it's hard not to be, unless you're Arcanus, hard not to be pretty good in this format. And recently, maybe even not so recently, but it seems to pop up more. The Gust is like owning games. Crazy. Especially that level 20. So I like him a lot. He's got enough escape to not be super squishy and die. So he's going to be in the A tier for me.
Yeah. I mean, he's a good range assassin. I wouldn't put him in the best. I wouldn't put him any lower than A, so I think he fits right there. All right, next we got Phoenix.
Phoenix. This is somebody that I am not good with. I've had a couple really good games where it's like, oh my gosh, this guy's a beast. Just stutter step and you never die. You got a shield. But for me, it's ranged assassin. But I haven't played them enough to get good, and I don't see him play very much, to be honest. Maybe other people are thinking the same way as me, but I think he's pretty average, below average in my hands. But he's not bad enough. He's still ranged, so he can't be that bad and be ranged. So I'll give him a C. I've seen him do well. I've seen him not do well. And in my hands, it's usually not well.
I agree with you on not seeing him much. I do think there are, more picks that you would take over him, such as an Asmo, a Chromie, a Falstead. So I think that kind of puts him down the list. But there are some cool things that he does have, like if you can get Zarya's Gravo Bomb or Gazlo's Gravo Bomb or a taunt or something, and you can unleash the World Breaker. You can do some fat combos with that.
It's sweet when you hit it, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. He's probably the least played ranged assassin that I've seen. I look through the list, yeah. Alright. Next, we got Garrosh.
Garrosh.
Fun fact on Garrosh, he's voiced by my old English teacher.
Interesting. Very interesting. Does he do any other voices for the...
He does... Oh yeah, he does a ton. He did Arthas. Not the Lich King, but when he's Arthas and he's talking, that's him. I would have to go back and look at some of his other voices, but yeah, he plays Garrosh mainly, and then the Arthas.
Nice. And Garrosh is a beast, and but I believe if I see they have a Garrosh, I'm like, oh man, they got Garrosh. That sucks. He's gonna flip. His survivability seems great with the armor, and he's got, I think it's W life steals or something. The flip is OP. I don't know. This is my first tank in S tier. He's gonna be an S tier for me. He is really good. He's not. I wouldn't say I'm that good with him, but somebody who's good with him can just front line and take over a game.
He's one of those guys. Anyway. When you see him on the other team, you're like, oh god, this is gonna be fun. That, or if you see him on your team, you're thinking, oh god, he's just gonna troll and throw me in. I get those a lot more than you would think.
That's true. You gotta hope that's not happening.
Yeah. Alright, next up we got Gazlo.
Gazlo. You know, I have fun playing Gazlo, but I wouldn't say I put up beastie numbers. He just seems kind of... He's another one of those characters when you see him on the other team, you're like, oh, they didn't get somebody OP. They got somebody average. They got a Gazlo. I'm going to dodge his bomb. I'm going to dodge his Gravo. And I'm going to dodge his laser. He just seems to have very dodgeable stuff. And you're not going to run up there and melee with him. So I would probably... And the Gravo bomb is nice when it does hit. His level 20 is pretty OP. But I don't see him doing enough to warrant anything over a C, so
you cut out there. What did you say? Sorry, you cut out. What'd you say?
I just threw in that he could a camp by himself.
Oh, so where did you put him?
A B-.
Okay. Next, we have Probably, actually, I would say he's probably the least I've seen played. Genji.
Genji, yeah. That's another one where you're like, huh, they got a Genji. That guy's probably upset that he didn't get a good pick because Genji's not, other than getting that dive kill on somebody and getting a reset and being able to escape, these characters, and we'll see a few more as we go along, with like high mobility. That's their main attribute, is the mobility of the character. You're facing a team of 5, and somebody is going to be able to CC you at some point. You're not going to be able to do much. So, I'm going to reserve my F tier for the characters that I hate, plus are awful. So, I don't think he belongs in F, but he's an easy D for me.
Yeah, you got to be able to play him well, and you got to be able to get in their back line for him to be special. And you don't see that happen a lot. I don't fear when they have a Genji on the other team. So that's kind of how I put my rankings, is how I play them. And if I see them on the other team, is it somebody I'm going, oh my gosh. Oh, by the way, fun fact, he also does Artanis' voice.
Okay.
Next, we have Gen Greymane.
Greymane. I enjoy playing Greymane. Well, he's fun. He's got melee, he's got range. It's nice to be able to jump back and forth because sometimes you need one or the other. So I would probably put him. I'd probably put him again in the B category. I don't think he's S or A because I don't see him take over games with huge numbers, but usually at the end of the game, he's a little difficult to play. You got to know what you're doing. But if you know what you're doing and you jump at the right time and you roll at the right time and you melee and range when you're supposed to, and his heroics are probably maybe slightly above average, I'll give him a solid B.
Okay. Yeah, he's actually the first character I mastered, and then they reworked him, and I haven't played him as much. And when I have, he's fun. I don't like the nerf to his heroic, the bullet, cursed bullet. It's based off of their current life and not just their life in general. So unless you're hitting him at 100%, the value on it goes down considerably. So that's my one issue with him. But I mean, he's got burst, he's got consistent damage, but like you said, not the greatest.
Not top tier.
All right, next we got Gul'dan.
Gul'dan. So for me, easy S tier. I will put up huge numbers on this guy. The sustained damage he has is probably unrivaled in the game. I mean, just fell and fell and fell, and corruption and fell. I don't love his heroics. Rain of Destruction. They changed it up to where you don't have to stand there the whole time it casts, so that helps it a little bit, but that's usually going to be avoided. The fear is good. I just can't seem to control it.
Yeah.
But probably, in my opinion, the best damage dealer in this format. So easy S tier. Probably an insta pick regardless of who my 3 choices are. I'm going to put up monster, hero, and siege damage on this guy.
Yeah. I mean, he's got everything. You don't really need mana. You can heal yourself with life drain. Yeah, he's probably one of the top. I don't know if I would take him first, just because preference-wise, I probably enjoy playing other people, but I do think he is probably the best choice. All right, next we got Hanzo.
Hanzo. So I like Hanzo. A lot of skill shot going here. Unless you go with the basic attack build. I've seen some people be successful with that, but you know, anything that resets when you die, I'm scared to take. This is a team fight for 20 minutes. You're probably gonna die. I like his specials. I like both of them, to be honest. So, you know, I can't say that he's like super beaster damage, but if you're halfway decent, he can be some good damage. Man, I think he's kind of right there in between A and B for me, to be honest. So I guess I'd probably give him a B. You can have some games where if you're not hitting your skill shots, you're not going to be putting up numbers. But overall, I think he's definitely above average. So let's give him a B.
Yeah, I think his only thing holding him back sometimes is his wave clear. It can be good, and if you choose certain talents, or if you have to go another way, like if you go an auto attack build, I mean, you insta kill minion, but at the same time, it's like you still have a slow attack, so it's one minion at a time. But he's.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying he's. I've enjoyed playing him. I've gotten better with him over time, and I can put up some fat damage. If they have somebody like a Gul'dan that I have to come close to shoot my target, usually I get wrecked because he's pretty squishy too. But B tier, I can see that. I could see A tier as well. Next we got Hogger.
Hog Wild. Hogger. Kind of annoying, I'll say that. Blasting people around, spinning around the map. And I don't know if he maybe got nerfed at some point back in the day, but I feel like his damage went down. But, you know, another stackable quest. Has some pretty good survivability, has some self-heals. I don't think he's awful. I don't think he's great. He'd probably be in the... Let me think for a second. Bruiser. Let me look at my bruiser list. You know, if you have to play a bruiser, I don't think he's awful, but you know, I guess with the stackable quest, I've seen him put up some pretty good numbers, so let's give him a B. Maybe a B minus for me. I'm not that great with him. I don't know. What do you think?
I think, yeah, he's a B. I do agree with you that I don't think they've nerfed him, but it does seem like his damage has been lower because there's a couple of games, I mean, I'd be throwing up huge damage, and lately,
yeah, I remember.
Lately, I don't seem like I do as much damage on him. I don't think they've nerfed him. Maybe I would have to go back because I've checked the latest updates through the couple that they've done, and I didn't really notice any big changes on DPS of characters. But yeah, I enjoy him. I mean, there's pretty much only one build you can go, which is the Dynamite build. I've tried to do the Rage Heal build, and I've never done well with that one. The Dynamite one seems to be about the only one that you can do. But yeah, I enjoy him. He's probably one of my top bruisers. Him and maybe Dahaka would be my top two, so. Alright, next we have Illidan.
Illidan. Oh, man. So, this would be one of my last picks. And if I see my team pick him, I'm like, this is going to be a struggle to get a win. And if I see the opposing team has them, I'm like, oh, they're playing with 4 people. Because, as I said earlier with, who was that, Genji?
Mm-hmm.
These guys where mobility is their biggest asset. Yeah, Illidan can jump in, but is he going to get stunned by somebody? Probably. And then he is going to either evaporate or immediately have to use everything to get out of there and do no damage. So at the end of the game, this guy's probably dying a lot and he's not doing any damage. He would for sure be F tier for me. Bad.
Yeah. I love seeing when they have a Illidan. I mean, we played one the other night. He did okay. He annoyed me a little bit when I was healing. But I mean, for the most part, I was able to solo him on a healer. So, he just doesn't do enough damage. And he's good at attacking backlines. Yeah, he's good at diving in. Yeah, but he's not exceptional at either of those. And there's other characters that can do just as good or better than him on that one. So, all right, next we got Imperious.
So I'm not good with him, but I do see people, with his self-healing, and as I like to scream out during the game, tip of the spear.
Mm-hmm.
That is a good CC. And you kind of stand the hit. You sit there yourself and take some damage. But in this format, I'm going to struggle to give any bruiser a very high grade because you're probably going to be melee, and half or more of the other team is going to be ranged, and you just can't get in there. So, oh man, I've seen people do really well with him. Not me, but I think I'm going to have to give him a C. He's just... if the other team has some melee where you can get in there and really self-heal, and then you can throw your spear and let your team blow up somebody, but that's not always going to happen. Half the time you're just going to be in there trying to frontline with a bruiser getting blasted on by ranged and being tanked by an actual tank. So, I don't think he's awful, but let's give him an average grade of a C, maybe C+.
Yeah, I could see him being in a B tier. Just because he can destroy tanks. He's probably one of the beastier guys when he's going up against an actual tank, especially because he does percent damage. And yeah, he can scare me at times, especially if he's getting that freaking spear every time. Yeah, that one can get annoying.
Yeah, I still don't understand the hitbox of that spear, but that's not for me to find out, I guess.
Yeah. All right, next we got Jaina.
Jaina.
You got to check out the song.
I have come to like Jaina. I used to be really bad with her. So I play a pretty aggressive style, and she's so squishy. I would just die a lot. But if you play her right, she can actually be really good. She would not be S tier for me. But I think she's definitely A tier with her heroic, her slows, her bursts. Super bursty, super mana hungry too, but I think she's a solid A, and you're not mad if you get her. You got somebody frontlining for you, you can probably sit back there and do pretty well.
Yeah, I'm okay with her. I'm not great, I'm not bad, but I do see the value in her. I mean, especially if you can, as we saw the other night, hit those Ring of Frosts. Oh my god. That can change the game. Next we got Joanna.
Joanna. So I think I said Blaze was close to my favorite tank. Well, he's not first because this is. Let me make sure I'm not speaking out of my butt here. I'm not. This is my favorite tank. Joanna has a little bit of everything. So I love her in this format. You can go self healing at level 1, or if they got some auto attackers, you can get a double blind. She has a CC and a stun. She has unstoppable. She has slow. She has survivability with that, with her D ability. I think her heroic is maybe slightly above average. You know, it's not amazing, but hey, it's another stun. Can control a fight or get you out of a situation. And I always do pretty good damage on her. I don't know if the W is what's doing work there, but you can clear waves and you can control a fight. She's my favorite tank. For me, she's S tier. She has everything.
Yeah, I mean, her utility is amazing. I'm not huge on her, but I do see the value in her. I mean, she soaks damage. You got the blind for auto attacks. You got the pull in on people. You got the shield to make you unstoppable. You got decent damage. And of course, you got the hammers, which I never take. But
oh yeah, the blessed hammer. That's a must.
Mm.
Just for the nostalgia.
Yeah. Oh, I remember those from Diablo.
Yeah, you do.
Next up, we got Junkrat.
Oh man, Junkrat putting up big numbers nowadays. I think he's OP. If you're not really dumb with his traps, they are super annoying enough to either benefit your team, or if the other guy's playing him, you're like, another mine, another mine, another mine, and he's just poking the whole time, right? Just poking back there, stacking a quest. So he, I think, in this format is elite, and I would put him in S tier.
Yeah. He can be annoying on both teams too, though, because there are times that mine saves the other team more than anything.
Yeah, no, you see that.
But he's good.
I think he's S.
Oh, I agree. I don't play him as an S tier. I don't know why, but I never seem to get the damage out of him that other people do. But I do see what he brings to the table in terms of damage and CC and annoyance. Okay. Okay. Let's go to Kel'Thuzad or KT.
KT. So he's someone else that I think used to be a lot better than he is now. They had to nerf some of his damage, because even when you're hitting stuff, you're not beasting. So he's still a lot of fun for me to play, and I'm not upset when I get him, but he's just not pumping that damage like he used to. Teams can avoid. If you can avoid spreading the living bomb, I don't think he's one of your top damage dealers. So, and he's somebody that I see when I see him, I'm not super sad that I'm seeing him. He's got no escape. He does have a shield if he specs it, but anymore I feel like he's pretty average. I don't see his damage dominating as consistently as it used to. You're like, oh great, here we go, I'm gonna get one flame strike and be dead. But, You know, but as I think about it, you're team fighting so much. Somebody's probably going to spread the living bomb. Somebody's probably going to stand in a flame strike. So let's give him a B. I think I had C in mind, but
Yeah,
let's go B.
I mean, if you do hit him with a flame strike and then put the living bomb on him, I've seen that take like half my life. So he's a little squishy. His mobility's kind of and he's mana hungry, like really mana hungry. But I think if people don't play around his living bomb, he can be amazing. And or if people aren't looking for the flame strikes on the ground, he can be amazing. He's just one of those that kind of depends on how the other team's playing. If they're stacking up, if they're running over his flame strikes. So, but yeah, plus he can clear waves pretty well.
Yep, I agree with that.
Next up, we got Kel'Thuzad, or KT.
KTZ. Oh man. So I'm not great with this character. Faux show. I mean, when it works, it's glorious, right?
Yeah.
But like, how many things have to happen for it to work? If you got somebody who's just really good, you know, maybe they take over the game with those chains and whatnot. But for me, he's going to get a pretty low grade, probably lower than what he deserves. But it's too squishy, way too combo-y, and I think it's the reward for the risk of all the combos is not even high enough for me. So this is a little bit the fact that I don't play him well, but he's going to score a D for me just because he's too inconsistent. And yeah, you get that one game where everything just works for you, but then for me, I get 9 games in a row where I'm just getting wrecked. So he's low for me. Like I said, maybe a little too low, but he's a D.
Okay. No, I agree with that. I think the thing is when you look at his damage at the end of the game, it's never all that much. I mean, he's got decent wave clear, he's got that, but like you said, you got to get close. And when you get too close, you just take too much damage and get blown up. I mean, his ults are pretty good. Everything about him's average, I would say. But I mean, if somebody's hitting the stuff and getting you, yeah, he's good. But you don't see that often. Most of the time, you see them missing every chain or maybe hitting 1 out of every 5.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we got Kerrigan.
Ooh, another melee assassin who's going to score low. You do not see Kerrigan picked very much, and I think that's because people avoid picking her because she's not good. So I'm debating between D and F here, and
I would go F because I don't fear her at all. She doesn't do any damage.
Yeah, it's another one that you have to combo with, and when you hit your combo, it still doesn't do enough damage to warrant at all taking it. So the little bit of CC that she brings is completely wiped out by the fact that she's melee, she's getting pounded on, her specials are below average. So I'm going to give her an F grade. I'm not picking her unless my other 2 picks are even worse, which I'm having trouble figuring out who's worse. We'll find that out later, maybe. But
Yeah.
F tier. Sorry, Kerrigan.
Oh, I totally agree. She doesn't do anything. I mean, her damage is bad. You got to combo everything. Even if you combo, like you said, you don't. It's not that impactful. Her ults are both bad. I mean, they don't do anything. She has to dive in, and she can't really dive out till later on. Yeah, she's not very good in this setting. All right, next up, we got Karazim.
Oh man, as we've been saying, when you see the character, you think, how do I feel when this is on my team, and then when I see it against me? And I don't like it when it's on my team, and I'm kind of lulling when I see that it's on the other team. So, have I seen people go off on kerosene? Yeah, I don't know how, and I don't see it super often. So, I think she's for sure one of the lower tier healers. I
Uh,
think her specials are above average, but too inconsistent of heals for me to be very high. So I'm thinking between a C and a D. Um, and probably going with a D because if I play her, it's going to be an F. And then just generally not being good. Let's put her in the D.
yeah, the only reason I would maybe move him to the C category is the Divine Palm. That's about it. Outside of that,
Yep.
he, even though it's weird, at the end of the game, you look and he'll have like huge healing numbers, but whenever I'm playing with him or he's on my team and he does a heal, it never seems like he's bringing me back up much at all. And then the heal is on such a long cooldown that it just doesn't seem like it's doing much. And maybe later in the game he gets a little bit better on that, but it's just like I don't see it myself, so I can see.
He's a melee healer, right?
Yeah.
For the most part. So it's like, again, in this format, that's just somebody's coming up and stunning you or rooting you, and then you're getting plowed. You're not getting any cooldown reduction, and you're healing once every 10 seconds for 300.
Yeah. I could see D plus C minus would be my range for him. I think he is in this setting the worst healer. Maybe there's one other one that's tied with him, but I don't know. I would even say maybe the other one is slightly better. I don't know. All right, next we have Lily.
Lily, one of my favorite healers. So I'm probably gonna rank her higher than maybe what she deserves, even though I still believe she deserves a pretty high ranking. I mean, it's gonna be between S and A. I'm just trying to figure if I can warrant giving her an A. Um, she's got a couple different builds. I mean, you can go a damage build here where you get to the end of the game and you have pretty good damage and pretty good heals. I'm just trying to think if you can heal every 4 seconds, but it's rather small heal. So I guess some of the other healers, man, I don't know. You tell me what you think first.
I think that she's probably, even though I don't enjoy her play style because my wrist is usually hurting by the end of the game by just smashing Q the whole time.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I mean, when I'm playing against her, she's annoying because I don't seem like I can ever just kill her. And then whenever I play with her, I don't seem as annoying, but she brings a lot to the table. Like you said, she's good at damage. She's good at healing. Her heals aren't the greatest. I mean, they're not the worst. I think her special is also awesome. That's probably where she gets a lot of her healing from, is the 1,000 or 1,000 jugs, 10,000 jugs, whatever it is, or 1,000 cups. There it is. Overall, I mean, she's probably top 3 healers, I would say, in the game. For being a single target healer and not an AoE healer, she still puts up very good numbers, and I would probably put her or A plus to S, somewhere in that area, just because I've seen her do some really good stuff.
Yeah, I think she's really good in the fact that she might be, her and Deckard are probably my 2 favorite tanks. So I'm just gonna go ahead and throw her an S. Maybe
Okay.
she's like an S minus, but I love playing her. you know, that aggressive play style fits her pretty well with her character trait of fast feet. So let's throw her an S. I like that.
Yeah, I can go with that. I mean, she's got a lot going to her. I mean, plus she brings a blind, which is always helpful against auto attackers, and she just
Oh yeah.
she's got a lot of different build ways that you can go with her depending on what the other team has and what you need for that game. So that's why I also look at her as being higher end, because sometimes there's one build and that's all you can do. With her, you got, you know, specific build that you want to usually go, but she does have some stuff that you can tailor to the other team.
Absolutely.
All right. So with that, we're going to finish the halfway mark here, and we will finish this up on another evening.